Good day. I'm your host, Tamara L., and welcome to another installation of Just Another Messenger, where we raise the situational urgency and consciousness regarding today's current events. We'll dive deep into the historical past by examining the philosophies, legal system, and political decisions that continues to influence our daily lives. So please join the conversation during the episode. Your comment matters. Hit the subscribe, share, and like button to be a part of more thought-provoking conversation in the future. You wouldn't want to miss it. And don't forget to visit our website at www.justanothermessenger.com that connects you to all our social feeds, online merch store, and our link to support the work via Cash App at $JustAnotherMessenger. So let's get started. All right, welcome back to Just Another Messenger. Now, this is episode number 35, Alchemy of Truth. And joining us today, we're going to bring in DeWayne Hendrix. He is a visionary author of Supreme Science and Red Pill Alchemy. Now, his work dives deep into the illusions of the Matrix, those hidden systems of control that's woven into our politics, media, and our current daily lives. Now, what he's going to do, he's going to reveal how we can break free through awareness, transformation, and what he has coined as Red Pill Alchemy. Now, this episode, we're going to also explore the origin of the Supreme Science, his book that was written, and what it means to truly question reality. Now, I know how Red Pill Alchemy transformed knowledge into power, as well as, most importantly, what practical steps we can take to reclaim our minds, our energy, and our sovereignty. So let's go ahead and lean in, because this isn't just another talk. It's an invitation to decode the matrix and awaken the alchemist that's within. Now, I know we have some housekeeping rules going on that we need to go ahead and pull up on the screen here before we bring our guest in for the day. And like I said, you can continue to like, share, subscribe on our YouTube page at Just Another Messenger, as well as join us over on X at JAM, JAM _404 podcast, as well as JAM 404 podcast is our new Instagram page as well that we're building up. And if you or someone you know like to be a part of the podcast, please send a friendly email to justanothermessengerpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, we would like to thank our loyal supporters for the contributions that you continuously make to have this show continually grow. And you can do that via our Cash App at $JustAnotherMessenger. Now, I know I had some great testimonials about the merchandise that's come in. We have the Just Another Messenger. We have our mugs and the other campaigns that we are running with the humanoid microphones. And as you can see, we have the winter coming in. So we also have our merchandise that's coming in. So without further ado, we have those housekeeping out the way. And I know we're going to make sure we get those comments up here on the screen to show we have our loyal listeners in the house today. So like I said, don't forget to visit our website at justanothermessenger.com. That connects you to all our social feeds as well as our online merch store. Now, we're going to go ahead and get our disclaimer up before we bring on our guests, because we have to put the rules in place here, or they like to always hit you with that copyright stuff. All right, so Just Another Messenger is a platform dedicated to public education, historical awareness, cultural critique, and transformative discussions under the protection of Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act of 1976, commonly referred to as fair use. Just Another Messenger does not provide statutory counseling for any United States color of law jurisdictional proceeding. The content presented by Just Another Messenger may include excerpts of copyrighted material, such as images, audio, video, and written works for the purpose of criticism, commentary, news reporting, education, scholarship, and research. All such usage of non-commercial in nature and intended to stimulate public discourse, raise the consciousness, and support transformative learning. We do not claim ownership over any third-party copyrighted material used. All rights and credit belong to the original creditors, creators. And if you are the copyright holder of any material featured and have concerns regarding its use, please contact us directly via email for prompt resolution. Now, I said without coming to basic tool for the manipulation of reality is the manipulation of words. And if you can control the meaning of words, you can control the people who must use those words. Now, this episode is going to dive deep into that, the alchemy of truth. And we're going to go ahead and bring on our guest, Mr. DeWayne Hendrix, for the day. How are you doing this evening?
Hey man, I'm outstanding.
All right, go ahead and introduce yourself more. I know I have been knowing you. I met you. I said, wow, I met you in 2010. I mean, it's amazing when you can meet someone. This is so powerful about this. I met him 15 years ago online, never met in the physical. And his message just resonated with getting to know who you are, being able to dig into the truth of knowledge. And it started with him 15 years ago. And I always stayed connected, and I've learned so much. And then when he released his books, um, he released his book out, Red Pill Alchemy and Sacred Science. I was just so intrigued with the body of work that he was putting out there. And that's just, I tell people all the time, that is just how powerful knowledge can be and how someone can touch you mentally, energetically, without even ever being in your presence physically. Man, go ahead and introduce. I'm excited about tonight.
Oh man, peace and love, everybody. My name is DeWayne Hendrix. To some, I'm affectionately known as Hey Roo. To others, people who know me from my previous life, they call me Bread or the Real Young Bread. That was my street name when I was in the streets. Bread, BRED was the acronym for Be Real Every Day. Bankhead riding equals destruction, and a few other things. But um, I made my transformation around 2008, I want to say. I had my daughter August 19, 2007, and that forced me to look at life differently. And once I was already what I would consider to be a scholar and somebody who was woke. I never was into uh, religion in that way, or was ever indoctrinated. Like I never believed what was on the news and stuff like that. And part of that was because of my military background. Um, I did 4 years in the United States Air Force as well. So that kind of like shaped and molded my worldview and helped me to realize how much they lie. So, and
Okay.
I would say around 2010 when you met me is when I first started putting together Supreme Science. But I actually didn't finish the book and put it out until 2016 because
Mhm.
um, the more you learn and the more you grow and the more you evolve, the more you realize how much has been hid from us and how much we don't know. So initially, Supreme Science was actually the title of it was supposed to be No More God Games.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was just going to be going through the three monotheistic religion and exposing all the fallacy within them. But once again, like I said, once I started learning more and more, and the more things started happening in the public eye, the more I realized it was a need to include so many other things, just uh, instead of just uncovering religion. So
Mhm.
what ended up being a result of that was a 444-page book that came out. And initially, I thought the book was only going to maybe be uh, 150 to 200 pages. So, but and you spell my name wrong, but it's okay.
Oh, Wait a minute, did I? We can fix that later. Yes, I'm sorry. It's
X.
that's right. X.
And remember, I am the third cousin to the great guitarist Jimi Hendrix, or
Okay.
James Marshall Hendrix.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now, what I did is can we segue back? I know that in the mainstream media, that was some controversy or just some information about the creator of the Matrix, Sophia Stewart, and there was another person who claimed the ownership of the book, The Matrix, and then the information regarding, you know, take the red pill or take the blue pill. And then I know, some of your literature in your book talks about the understand the variations of that as well. You go a little bit more deeper into uh the individual, the body construct of that, whereas the movie The Matrix, it stays on top of the surface, and you have to kind of know how, you have the eye to see to be able to decode what you're really looking at. So can we segue between the creator of the Matrix as well as you started off with Supreme Science, correct? And then I know Red Pill Alchemy was second, correct?
right, right.
Okay. So can we kind of segue with that? Because what I did, I'm just because I know a lot of my viewers, they love the PowerPoint. So I did a comparison and how they fit together as far as the focus, the tone, the audience, and the value. So because I know those are your materials still on I know Barnes and Noble, Amazon. How
Yeah.
how could the people reach your information?
To be honest with you, I would much rather people get in touch with me personally, because just to be 1,000% transparent, I'm trying to figure out a way to get my books off Amazon,
Oh, I feel you on that.
because it's a whole pimps and hoes type of scenario they got going on with how much you actually make off of a book sale.
Oh, it's a 70/30. They take 70, no, 60/40. Now you've done all that work and they take a 60/40 split. So
Yeah,
that's why my work is not on Amazon. No, I think not.
I think it's a little bit shout out to my girl JG. She like to use the term egregious. I think it's a little bit
It's
more,
very egregious.
yeah, than 60/40.
Yeah, put your information up. Are you able to put your information up?
Yeah. So let's see. And truthfully, this is what I do most of. Can you can I share? Let's see. They didn't change. Okay.
It didn't change so much.
Yeah, they changed the view on the stream yard. I gotta get some pointers from you though, because your show look real good.
Thank you. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work and love. Let
Yeah,
me see. We're gonna add that to the stage as well.
absolutely. So that's me right there.
Okay. It's telling me to take the before presenting screen, remove other media streams from the stage. I did that.
That's not letting it share.
Oh, it said remove the media. Okay, so I have to remove it. Now I can add it. There you go.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. So I would much rather, anybody get in contact with me.
Okay.
And what I usually do is I usually do a bundle for all four of my books, because I also have two children's books, or I do a deal for both of the books where I don't sell them for the actual price on Amazon. I just sell them for $20 a piece plus shipping. So if somebody wants priority, I think it's like $12 or $13, so it ends up being about $52, $53, something like that. For,
Okay. Eh,
instead, and they'll get them autographed.
Okay. So as you can see here, he can be found on Facebook, and that is DeWayne Hendrix with an X, Hendrix. So you can message him through DeWayneHendrix.x and you will be able to have access to Supreme Science and Red Pill Alchemy. So let's get into this. Like I made the comparison and I focus, tone, audience, risk, and value. So revealing now, Supreme Science is revealing a matrix, exposing illusion, more dynastic, investigative, eye opening, those awakening, people asking questions because it's still the awakening still is taking place. Even if you think you're awake, you're still waking up even more. Overwhelmed with what's going on in today's society. If you have any type of speculative claims without universally accepted proof, and it helps radical reframe worldview and it shifts perspective. And Red Pill Alchemy deals with responding to the revelation, methods, and transformation. Because a lot of times people argue out of ignorance, like they argue loud and wrong in ignorance, and you can't have a position in that. And it's more prescriptive, hopeful, action oriented. And those who have accepted some of the premises and now want to move forward, resist and grow, potentially idealistic, hard to sustain without support, possible backlash from mainstream. You will definitely get that because I know you're going to talk about that. And helps takes the next steps, converts awareness into change. And I'm going to bring you back on, brother, so you can definitely get into that.
Okay. Where you want me to start?
I want you to start with both. Let's start with Supreme Science in the contrast with the Matrix and how you are able to extract that information, how that information can also help, someone who's newly coming into awakening in consciousness of themselves.
Okay. Well, what I would say is that for for me, watching the film The Matrix was a defining point in my life. Like I said, I was in the military. So because I was in the military and the nature of my job, I had a top secret SCI clearance, which is pretty high up there as far as like the levels of clearance that people could get as an enlisted member of the military. And I would be at work all day reading intel reports, communication reports, logistics reports from all sorts of sources within the government, DOD, any type of governmental agency, any of the, because I worked in joint forces, so all four of the branches. Um, I pretty much either read something that was directly from that office.
Mm-hmm.
I was privy to conversations, like I was privy to the conversations that, 4-star generals have based on my level of clearance. So because of that, when you work in that capacity, and then you have to go out into the civilian world and you see, for lack of a better term, all the bullshit that they put on the news.
Mm-hmm.
Just like it's night and day. So for me, when the film The Matrix, when I watched it, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. I was sitting at the time with the woman and I was dating, and I was like, man, this is the realest movie anybody ever made. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there talking through the movie in the movie theater, explaining to her why, and for me, it was that kind of defining moment because it was the best way that somebody had conveyed, what's really going on as far as there being a construct that people
Right.
think is real versus what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
So once I began to read, research, and eventually started speaking out, and I don't even like to use the term teach, but I guess sharing, because
Oh
I
no, brother, you was teaching. Don't be coy. You
no,
were teaching.
And people call me their teacher. People be telling me I'm a master teacher and all sorts of stuff. But I don't want that kind of responsibility for another person.
It's heavy as the head to wear the crown. I get it.
Right. But at the same time, my only goal in sharing was to actually um inspire other like minds and like soul kindred spirits to
Mhm.
do the same thing, because when it's one person standing on a mountaintop like me, I've been a conspiracy theorist this whole time.
Oh yeah.
With my work with the Atlanta child murders, people done went and made millions of dollars off of my work. And then when they've been asked, like the goofy Payne Lindsay that produced the Atlanta Monster podcast, he went on the Breakfast Club and said, "Oh yeah, I got in touch with Wayne Williams through some guy that was just on the internet talking conspiracy theories."
Could you
So,
touch on that? Because I want you to really bring that in because I like I said, I have been a part of studying your work, been a part of the work that you were putting out, and like we talked about how you shifted from um Supreme Science to Red Pill Alchemy, and I witnessed the true. Now that was my first time ever witnessing uh, a podcaster, a truth teller, a truth seeker getting really heavily censored and flayed on these podcasts. I think honestly, I think you were the first to start getting flayed out there to where they was heavily censoring you. And I said, he must be telling the truth. There must be a lot of truth. And it made me start digging into the truth because for the way they were, every time you would come on and say one little thing, your transmission was like, he's out of here, like out of here, out of here, out of here. So I knew there was a lot of truth that was you were putting out there. Now, one of the things that really caught my attention being I'm an ATLian, baby. I'm ATL born. This is my town, right?
yeah,
That's right. So when I understood when you said when you was working on that project about Wayne Williams, that's when I really saw the smoke coming from you. I mean, that the smoke was coming at you hard. Could you touch on that because that was a very scary moment in the Atlanta area for all the families, all the Black families and children. That part. Could you touch on the work that you was doing with the Wayne Williams project?
Well, basically, I brought it back to the forefront. It pretty much had been pushed aside, and every time public interest grew in the past, they would lie on Wayne Williams all over again. They would reinvent a way to lie on him to make him guilty, and then they would push it aside again. And fortunately enough for me, with social media, I think that's what gave me the staying power that other movements didn't have.
Mhm.
Other movements were started, and I'll make it public here on your show for the first time. We will be back with a podcast called At Kid Unleashed. We started a live stream called At Kid Unleashed, and basically that live stream got me removed, two channels removed off of YouTube. So they removed my personal channel, which was a channel that I started doing videos on like in 2009.
Mhm. Was that the Red Pill Gang?
That was no, well, it was the name of my channel was my comedic attributes, which is Kaba Batun Ray, which means the spirit, soul, and the heart of the undifferentiated one. And when we started the live stream, we was just live streaming on StreamYard. So
Mhm.
we was live streaming from my YouTube, my Facebook, another Facebook page that I had, the Wayne Williams Freedom Product Facebook page, which I'm still the owner of, and
Okay.
we were live streaming it. And once it started to catch fire, they got it taken down. So
Mhm.
one of the things that we now know that I'll tell you is that one of the people who came after me, lied on me, ended up having me in court. We found out that, and basically she slipped up and admitted it to one of the family members, that she was related to the Roper family, which Samuel Roper is a famed Klansman. He is known for being a Atlanta police officer that led a lynch mob that lynched a innocent black man for supposedly, I think they said he raped a white woman or something like that in the 1930s, I want to say it was. And this man ended up leaving the Atlanta Police Department. He became the second director of the GBI. And with our research, we found out that the GBI basically was formed from a bunch of highway patrolmen all over the state of Georgia that was Klansmen.
Not surprised.
And in part, the reason why the GBI was formed was to try to keep J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI out of Georgia. Because in Georgia, the organized crime, quote unquote, the Dixie Mafia was really the Klan.
Yes.
And they were the organized crime, or if you want to say like the mafia in not only Georgia, but Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. Like they were really heavily saturated in the southern states. So they formed the GBI to try to keep the feds out of Georgia. When in that part of history where they talk about J. Edgar Hoover and the G-men and how, you know, the FBI started ramping up to come after organized crime in the country because of prohibition and bootlegging and all that stuff.
Yes.
So while all of that is taking place in Georgia, we're going to create the GBI to keep them out of our business.
And they've been a little quiet lately, but yeah.
Yeah. So that's how the GBI formed. And this man became the second director of the GBI. And when he left the GBI, he became the Imperial Wizard of the Klan.
So it's like the descendants of the clans. They're trying to rise up and take position and within the Atlanta landscape of politics, but they fail to realize that there's a change of guard. There's been a change of guard in Atlanta for about
no.
What's that?
So all of them figures that you know from Atlanta politics, they just the Klan in blackface.
Okay, let's touch on that.
Yeah,
let's touch on that.
Jackson, Andy Young, whoever.
No, when I said changing guard, I wanted to touch on that. So I'm glad you got there. So you got there. You got there faster than I wanted to get there.
Yeah, I mean,
you got there super faster than I wanted to get there, because when I said changing guards, I'm talking about the changing faces where you had, Maynard coming in. You had, what was his name?
Andy Young.
Andy Young. Then you had, what's the one that was persecuted about the Atlantic Steel? Bill Campbell. Then you had Shirley Franklin. You had all those faces. Yeah. So let's touch on the different changing guard faces.
Well, I mean, it depends on how deep people want to go into it, but let's just say this. MLK, I lived, for the record, at one point, I lived at 659 Auburn Avenue. You could literally come out of, it was a loft district in which I had my recording studio. You could walk out of my loft district and you could look down the block, and a block and a half was MLK's house that he grew up in.
Okay.
Holmes was the Boulay. You know, Boulevard, MLK Boulevard, Boulevard.
Okay.
Right. His dad was Boulay. He was picked by Nelson Rockefeller, who is the grandson of John D. Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller, of course, from Standard Oil, the man who purchased the medical industrial complex in America, the man who created Big Pharma, the man who purchased the education system and said that he didn't want a nation of thinkers, he wanted a nation of workers. That John D. Rockefeller's grandson is the person who handpicked Martin Luther King Jr.
Now it gets really interesting now.
Okay. Morehouse College is named after the Rockefeller family pastor because Morehouse was originally a seminary school.
Mm-hmm.
Seminary. uh, and then
In the hood.
Spelman is named after Laura Spelman Rockefeller, the wife of John D. Rockefeller.
That's correct.
So and to go, even deeper into it, in Supreme Science, I got a whole passage about how MLK wrote his college essay about the fact that the Bible was plagiarized information from the ancient Sumerian and ancient Egyptian texts. So, he was in the public eye, being a reverend and all of this good stuff. But in all actuality, this was somebody who knew what the truth really was all the way back then.
That's correct. Because I know a lot of your material has been confiscated and put out because you were not able to be out there to continue the message.
Right. We can name the names if you want to, because I can real good, so I ain't worried about none of these busters in the conscious community.
Absolutely.
A lot of them have been placed strategically. So I'll tell you, the first time I noticed it was that cat Kevin Wesley,
mm-hmm.
Who since it done came out that Holmes and Dwight Howard supposed to be butt buddies, and the baby mama walked in on them and all that, right? When Supreme Science came out, the day that it dropped, the day that Supreme Science dropped,
mm-hmm.
at the time, this was before Amazon went to what's called KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, and they were dealing with a print and press called Create Space. On my Create Space page, the day that Supreme Science dropped, one person bought 12 copies of it. So after that happened, I started seeing all of these people emerging on social media talking about stuff that was in my book.
It's a lot of information. I will tell you that. And you spent a lot of time digging in the crates. You put a lot of time into obtaining information, and I guess that's your background, as you talked about, as working in the intelligence and in reading documents. So you can tell your information in the book is heavy research. Like, it's heavy research that you can't just Google and find. Now, you could probably Google now in 2025 and find it, but then you weren't able to just Google that type of information and find out about it. You had to literally go behind some spaces to get that.
Right, absolutely. And
so how were you able to amass that type of knowledge that was hidden in because it wasn't in plain sight?
Yeah, so you see this bookcase behind me, and that's probably over half of my books, but I got a lot of books, and I done did a lot of reading and researching over the years. Something else I want people to be mindful of, because they lie to you on the news and tell you the truth in the movies. It's a film called 3 Days of the Condor, and it's loosely based on a CIA program in which every form of media that is released, the CIA monitors it. This is, little known public information, but it's a film called 3 Days of the Condor. Robert Redford, who just passed, did that. Interestingly enough, the number alchemy is 36, and R Robert Redford is 18 plus 18.
Now, help like go into that slowly with some of our readers because everyone may not be there. And even if they're not there and their first time tuning in to just another messenger, you know, how did you come up how the numbers you just provided? Now, how would someone learn about that? I know that's another study that people must get into when it comes down to numerology and astrology and the importance of that because we're talking about the alchemy of truth. And I know it may appear that it's going a little bit over the heads of some, but just hang on because you can't force feed the truth into people because to try to transform yourself, to try to take negative energy that we are under and transmute it, you will not be able to do it just in one session.
Right.
So explain that understanding of the numbers.
Okay. Well, one of the things that I did when I was studying before I actually wrote the books, I studied a course, comparative religion, and one of the things that I learned in the study of Islam is something that they call abjad, where you take every letter and you give it a numeric assignment, right? So, for instance, with the English language, there's 26 letters.
Mhm.
Okay. This becomes important to understand because when you start to understand the concept or understand the concepts of the numerical assignments to letters, each letter is actually an energy. When you say the word alphabet,
Mhm.
you're saying the first house, okay? Because alpha, of course, is one in Greek, and then bet is the Hebrew word that means house. It's actually it's a loose transliteration of womb, though,
Thank you.
because the bet or the house is actually the womb, the
Yes.
cosmos, right? So when I got a whole passage in Red Pill Alchemy about bet, the cosmic womb, I would pull it up, but it's just too long to read it. But for those who are listening for the first time, when I explain something, I go in depth to explain it, and I break it down as much as I possibly can to give you the insight to now be inspired to go do further research on whatever the topic is I'm talking about. So,
Man, your book alone is like 2 years of research, and that's a lot of information people would get to know, but go ahead, continue.
right,
Yes.
and that's really, to be honest with you, that's the point, because in the time that it takes for me to cook something else up and put out another book, if a person truthfully reads, studies, and researches the right way, your growth just from one book. That's why when I first put it out, I said this book will change your life. Because if you really read it and you research, and in the acknowledgments, I'm always giving a disclaimer that this don't begin and end with me, that you need to go do your own research. So
Absolutely.
I'm just pointing you in different directions for you to go find out things for yourself. And what ends up happening, because we all have divine intelligence and we all are truthfully master teachers and master students of life, once we get outside our ego, you travel and you go so many different places. So it takes a person the complete 720 if they read it properly, because there are um physical jewels for this realm that I give in my writings, and then there's the above jewels that you're going to get, that's going to help you become a greater force, a god or goddess in your own right. So with the cosmic womb or the first house, the alphabet, just to give you an example, we say English, but it's really Anglish. That's why they say Anglo-Saxon, angle. That's where you get angels from, is the angles in the cosmos. And English is English, and there's 26 letters for the 26,000 year solar procession. So each letter is 1,000 years. So the 1,000 years of the Lord is one day, and one day is 1,000 years, right? So with the language within itself, we have these esoteric assignments. Just to give the people an example, in the middle of the language, you have M, which is the axis of the English language. The letter M is why you have your Marcus and your Malcolm and your Martin and your Muhammad and your Moses and your Messiah, right? Michael or Michael in Hebrew, right?
The 33.
Right. You have Mason, Mother, Mary, my aunt. Like, I could go on and on with the letter M. But on each side of the letter M, you have L and N. When you put those together, you have lumen or light, luminary, light, Illuminati, right? It's right in the middle of the language. You have QRST, or the Christ, that is hidden in the language. Because Christ in ancient times was actually spelled KRST.
That's correct.
Yeah. So even with what we were saying about MLK earlier, it's a reason why they changed his name to MLK, or Martin Luther King, because 11, 12, and 13, and what the numbers 11, 12, and 13 do. If I could find it, I'll
because his name was Michael. What was his middle name?
Oh,
Martin. Before it was Martin Luther King.
Oh, I can't even remember, but I know
Yeah, that was Michael something. It was off. The frequency was off. We're talking about frequencies, listeners. And I know YouTube is light tonight, but guess what? There's a lot of listeners over on my personal Facebook, and I noticed that. And I'm trying to get those people over to the YouTube to make the algorithm so we can go further in the algorithm space. But we're not monetizing on YouTube. So that's why we always say to continue in the space of helping the channel grow, because donate to our Cash App at $ just another messenger. And also, DeWayne, for our viewing listening audience, if you'd like to donate to DeWayne as well, you want to put your information up there. If they want to donate to, do you have a Cash App or anything they can donate to support your work? And like you said, we have your book information up there.
Yeah, there it is. So let me share the screen, because I like for everybody to see this. This is MLK. Why this is why MLK? Let me see. Shoot. There we go. Okay.
Is it coming up?
Boom. Boom. Let me know when you can see the screen. Boom.
All right. Okay. There you go.
So with let me X out of this so we can. All right. So with these numbers, M is the 13th letter, L is the 12th letter, and K is the 11th letter. 11, 12, and 13 But what we found out is 11, 12, and 13 are the only numbers that when you square them, they create mirrors. And when you square the mirror, it creates the mirror on the other side. So 11, of course, the mirror for 11 would be 11. And 11 squared is 121. Well, 12 squared is 144, but the mirror of 12 squared 21 is 441. And then 13 squared is 169. And the mirror for 13 is 31. And when you square that, you get 961. So, they changed his name for a reason, because again, with understanding and comprehending letters, what we truthfully do is we learn to comprehend and understand the energy behind the letters. I don't know how to stop sharing that.
Okay. That's okay. We
Yeah.
go here. All right.
Yeah. So that's just one image. That's in Red Pill Alchemy. That's just
Now, when you said the mirror of it, what came to my mind was the illusion.
mm-hmm.
So that's what came to my mind when you said the mirror of the number. It creates the mirror. So anything that has a mirror, it could be an illusion. Dependent, yeah. So let's get into that. Let's get into the illusion that's created around that, because like you said, the changing of the name changes the frequency. Every one of our names, like you said, has the assignment of a number to it. And of that assignment, it creates a frequency. And that frequency manifests into, like you said, for MLK, it manifests into a mirror. So what was being portrayed? What was being portrayed through that mirror, through the lens of that mirror, MLK? What were the people? What was the agenda for the people to see or not see?
For MLK, his assignment was to basically get us to integrate so it could destroy our economy.
Mission accomplished.
If you from the A, I know you done been to Fourth Ward a gajillion times.
Yeah.
So, and some of the buildings is still there, still intact, but that was one of the places where we had a thriving economy.
Right.
In the heart of the city, you could go get whatever from a Black-owned business.
Yes.
So another thing that a lot of people are unaware of is that both Marcus Garvey and MLK, and Marcus Garvey was a plant too. So for all the Pan-Africanists, he was a plant too. He was funded by a Jewish man named Julius Rosenwald, who actually is the person who made his fortune from Sears and Roebuck. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to hear it, but he also funded Noble Drew Ali. But Marcus Garvey, by default, with the Racial Integrity Act of 1921, a lot of Black Indians lost their land in Virginia behind following Marcus Garvey, because when they became a part of the UNIA and they expatriated to Liberia is a U.S. colony.
Yes.
So by default, they became U.S. citizens, which placed them under jurisdiction of the United States government. The same thing happened to a lot of the Black Indians in Georgia that followed MLK.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up, because I know that information. Is it Red Pill Alchemy where you talk about the names? Now, I know recently there is a lot of information going on about birthright citizenship, the indigenous nations, the native, the indigenous. There's just like, there is a war of restoration going on, or who could possibly be the next master over the people, over the jurisdiction known as United States of America. So, are the people going to rise up and take their sovereign power back? Now, I know in one of your books, I can't remember if it was Supreme Science or if it was Red Pill Alchemy, where you provide the indigenous names of all the different nations before, and I've never been able to find that. Like, you can't find that online. So I was like, oh my God. So
Well,
of the indigenous names before they were converted over to the modern names that you hear today.
Well, what I did was I put a lot of the indigenous information for Georgia. So I
Mm-hmm.
do all of the indigenous nations, but what I did do is I put a bunch of information about the state of Georgia. Um, and what I also did was I put information about the middle school that I went to in the 6th grade, how when it was excavated, it was found to be on top of a Native American burial mound in my hometown of Brunswick, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Um, it was a big deal because, this is all history that they had hidden from, the people in this area for the inception, and they actually have a charter in the town for the actual high school that's on that side of town, because it was just a courtyard that separated the high school and the middle school. They have it in the town charter that they'll never excavate the high school,
Because they knew what was under it.
right? And this is where the missionaries from Spain, I have a lug. I mean, I got a jewel that's I'm talking about when I put what I'm putting together in Red Pill Alchemy too about the indigenous people. Um, I'm definitely not prepared to share
You
it.
when all this started coming and you popped out, I said, "Oh boy, there he go again.
Yeah,
He's back."
yeah,
So I
yeah,
was happy to see you back, brother. I was real. I was happy to see you back because your presence was like I knew there was a lot of ghost whispering going on and it wasn't authentic. I knew where a lot of that authentic source came from. And when I saw you pop back out, I was happy to see you back out. But I said I knew you was coming with a banger, especially with this indigenous uh battle that's going on. I knew you was gonna come with
yeah.
with the receipts. I knew you was coming with the receipts.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because a lot of what's going on out here is a bunch of misinformation that is delineating us from Africa. And um, I've already proven truthfully that the lands, it was the same people in both lands because the landmass was once connected. Um, the uh esoteric display of our ancient spirituality is what proves it, though. So I don't want to give too much away about what's going to be in my next book, but what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna share these images.
Okay. Give us a little sneak peek preview. Seen here on Just Another Messenger.
You already seen this. This is from Red Pill Alchemy. I mean, from Supreme Science. Okay. I'll start right here. It says, then you have the Atlanta Hawks, which represents Haru, the Messiah. The National Hockey League, once again, the team in Atlanta is called the Thrashers. They were symbolized by the hawk, denoting the Netta supreme deity Haru. The first resurrection of the Heavenly Father, he was the original Messiah. The colors for this team were red, yellow, and blue. These are the three primary colors of the spectrum. These three colors are also symbolic of the original name of ancient Egypt, because the earth Ta is red. This is the red clay in Georgia and Africa. The water of the Nile River is blue, and the sun, or Ray Ra, is yellow. This is why it is so important to realize why the ancestors named the whole land Tamaray, which is where your name Tamara really, the origin really means earth, water, and sun. And that's so important to understand, because when we get into our original spirituality, whether you look at indigenous culture in the Americas, and I don't just mean North America, we can look in Central and South America, we can look in Mexico, we can look in West Africa, going all the way back to ancient Kemet, and even in the indigenous cultures of India and Asia, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to always see a connection to nature.
Yes.
We could not go anywhere and thrive and survive without earth to plant things in, to grow, to eat, water to cultivate, and the sun for them to grow and receive the divine light. The sun is the light, the life, and the love of the plant.
And that's your amen moment. Pass the collection plate.
Right. So this one reason why they always show Jesus wearing red and blue with the yellow sunlight emanating from him. Last but not least, the Major League Baseball has a sports franchise in Atlanta as well, the Atlanta Braves. Mascot is a Native American. This is to symbolize how the land was stolen from Native Americans. The name Braves refers to the Yamasee Native Americans because they were not afraid to die. And the only reason they were defeated was the Cherokee from North Carolina came to Georgia to help Europeans defeat the Yamasee. When you look at the symbolism displayed throughout the state of Georgia, as well as the names found in Georgia, there is a heavy Native American influence. So I put Rock Hawk Mound. This is Rock Hawk Mound, which is in Hancock, Georgia. This is Rock Eagle Mound, which is in Eatonton, Georgia. And this is they actually have a almost like military base where they have this 4-H site where the Native American mounds are, and they don't let people back there on this part. But there's an inscription in one of these parts that says, "Tread lightly here, white man. Strange people have visited this land and they still come and go." And this was the ancestors talking about the deities that were coming from above, who's called the Anunnaki, right? And you see they are both on the 33rd parallel. And this is the symbolism for the hawks. Of course, the hawks and the falcons, their colors are black, red, and white, and those are the colors of ancient Egypt. When you look at the three great pyramids, one was black, one was red, and one was white, because those are the colors of alchemy. When you look at a charcoal, it starts off as black. If you light fire to it, it turns red hot, and when it cools off, it becomes white ash. Those are the three phases of alchemy.
So will it be safe to say that the arguments that are being had today, the indigenous argument, they have the wrong placement? Like, they're still trying to create this separation and divide
Correct.
amongst the true indigenous people,
Right.
when the true melanated indigenous people of the land mass, we are all one.
Right.
So it's like a sect, still this sect tripping that's going on with, you're
Well,
here, I'm there, and trying to uphold that. That's still a European conquest mindset.
Right. And this is what you was talking about right here. This is all of the different indigenous names in
Yes.
Georgia of places, and some of this stuff isn't even the original names. And moving further, I found more information about even the Yamasi name, and before it was Yamasi, it was Wahali or Gwali. So that's something that will be covered in Red Pill Alchemy 2 as well. And here, this is the Thunderbird Inn, which is in Savannah, Georgia. And this is a historical layout of Savannah, or what's called Yamacraw Bluff. And this right here is Yamacraw Village, which is a housing project that's in Savannah still to this day. And they built all kinds of nice, elaborate hotels and everything around, because this is in prime real estate in Savannah. It's like walking distance from the water.
I have to get back down there. I haven't been to Savannah in a couple of years. I have to get back down there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, over there. Well, I'm saying down there because my mind just flipped. If I was up in Delaware, yeah. But now that I'm back in Georgia, I need to get over there because it's a lot of great information to connect to in that region.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Mhm.
I got some videos I got to put out where I did a breakdown at a couple of the squares about the lies that they tell us historically about what happened in Savannah. But with this Thunderbird Inn, still to this day, this is the sign for it. And that was one of the names that the indigenous people called their deities. They call them Kachina or Thunderbirds. So there's all of this historic indigenous culture that's right in our faces, but they never told us properly. This part of the book is where I break down the Trail of Tears. And in part, some of the people that we were told that it was Cherokee, but now I found out that some of the people that were sent to Oklahoma on the Trail of Tears were really the real Black indigenous.
Yeah.
And those ended up being the people that were involved in the Tulsa race riot.
No, I didn't get that far. So
That's
I'm very interested in learning of that information because I've been doing a little since I've been back. I've started digging as well in the paperwork, and then also I'm just now that I'm here, I'm like traveling to these sites, especially along Mitchell Street. And I know that the heaviness about Mitchell Street in downtown Atlanta and Trinity and Avenue and that area up in there, and how even the area that because I thought it was kind of strange that a lot of those markets that was in that area that is how could I say it, of Jew, juicies, those that are in control. And I look at some of their stores when I travel back down that area, and I look at some of their stores and it's still there, and I'm like, I didn't see one customer. And there it's not an upgrade. And I know the last time that I've been on that street or seen those stores been around for like 50, 60 years. And you haven't remodeled your store, and a lot of them are still there. And it's like it kind of just make you a light bulb will go off in your head regarding it's like a post. It's like they're there as a post. And so it kind of reminds me of, then I found out, that how the state of Georgia leases out the railroad tracks, and they receive like $1 million a month from CXX because they made a deal with them after the to rebuild Atlanta, the resurgence of Atlanta, they made a deal with the railroad company CSX to take over that, and the state of Georgia receives $1 million a month for those rail lines. And so, and I'm just kind of traveling along that historical pathway, and so, and I found the marker. It's in under. It's like right there in your face. It's in underground Atlanta. So, and I found the old picture.
Well, when
Mhm,
you look at so when you talk about them folk, I mean it's a rabbi that was connected to Maynard Jackson that has a children's school named after him in Sandy Springs.
hmm.
Yeah, it's a private school.
It kind of makes you wonder. We're going to have that conversation offline because that Sandy Springs has a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. Then you got the fact that Maynard Jackson was discovered by a Rothschild when he was
Hmm.
selling encyclopedias when he was in college,
Hmm.
and there was a Rabbi Rothschild.
Because Sandy Springs really just developed. It was never, that just became a city, I'll say around
But you
2007, 6, 7.
gotta let me cook. You gotta let me cook.
Go ahead.
It's about Atlanta child murders now. You gotta let me cook now.
There you go.
So because Atlanta does have um that underground or a city underneath the city, basically.
Hmm.
There's tunnels all over the city of Atlanta.
Yes.
So maybe there was this place at the time that was called Adaman, and it was a labor pool, but it actually had tunnels that went under I-75 and came out on Georgia Tech, allegedly.
Hmm.
Um,
Is that where Beaver Slide was at? Ooh.
no, it ended up being I can't think of the name. It ended up being and I think it may still be a very popular gay club in Atlanta, right there on Spring Street.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but literally, there's tunnels that go underneath I-75.
It's still there.
Yeah, and most of downtown Atlanta. So I worked at 2 Peachtree Street. So 2 Peachtree Street is the big state building. It's right
Hmm.
by Five Points train station.
Yes.
I used to do because by trade, when I was in the military, I learned how to do computers. So I can go get an IT job pretty much anywhere in the world, right? At night, in order to get in the building, you had to go underground. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And let's say for the sake of this conversation, to cut it short, let's say that if I wanted to traffic children all throughout the city and I knew these routes and I had access to either police cars or ambulances,
Easy to do.
I could pretty much get from the south side all the way to Alpharetta if I knew the right routes in a very quick time, especially when there's all sorts of access roads that are underneath the city. Another thing that's very important for people to understand, and this is how much research, because these people, I'm like, and let me encourage my brothers and sisters, when you go through stuff in life, you never know why you're going through it. And sometimes in life we say, why me? Why I gotta do this? Why I gotta be this hard? All that bullshit. That soft ass shit, right? Why not you? So with me, like I said, I'd have been lied on, I'd have been taken to court, all kind of stuff. I'm still on 10. And I ain't fold, I ain't back down, I ain't run from that. Right? And these people coming after me and attacking me, what ended up happening was I got a team of people around me that's so strong now, because these people that was like looking at this side and looking at this side and trying to figure out what was really going on all saw that I was righteous in everything that I was doing. So all of those people the real people started gravitating to me.
And that's what happens.
Right? And because these people came after me, I started researching the people who came after me. And it forced me in so many different ways. And I started learning so much. And not just me, my whole team. We've been researching these people, like, why these folk came after DeWayne? Boy, what the hell going on? For like, man, come on, man, what y'all doing? Why y'all trying to stop bro trying to get Holmes out of prison? Bro, really, like bringing the real for a whole generation of folk that was terrified by this shit. Like, why y'all messing with him?
Exactly.
What's going on? So,
and people are still traumatized to this day.
Right. So,
and the truth is still not revealed.
Well, it's gonna get revealed. You hear me? But one of the things that we found out with one of these well-known clan families, they was from Mountain View, which Mountain View is just a small little part of the city that's like between Hateville and Riverdale, basically, right? It's super small.
Mountain View?
Mountain View.
I didn't even know it was a city in between.
Right. It's small. It's like parts of it is like close to College Park, Hateville. But when you start to think about the fact that Stewart Avenue runs all the way into Hateville.
That's correct.
Where a lot of the child trafficking was going on in Atlanta back then. You hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Heart of it.
Mountain View. Do you remember the film Gone with the Wind?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the end of the film where the trains was coming in? You said the trains. Remember the trains was coming in? That iconic scene at the end. It was during the Civil War when all of this was happening and going.
Mm-hmm.
That part of Atlanta before it was called Mountain View was called Rough and Ready.
Oh.
And part of why there was this outrage by these white supremacists because Maynard Jackson was developing the airport.
Okay. Yes. Remember that.
Jackson basically sold the city of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
He agreed to lay down and be they whore. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
For him to be the first black mayor and to have this legacy and everything, in which the airport is named after this man now. And the airport is one of the...
Well, they gave him like 50% of it.
Yeah. But
Hartsfield Jackson.
Yeah, Hartsfield Jackson. But it's also a human trafficking hub, folks.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And if somebody was to do some research, maybe they would find out that it was a lot of cops that was on the force during the Atlanta child murders that got rewarded contracts in the airport. Hey, man, you stay quiet, boy. Hey, boy, if you stay quiet, I'm going to give you $1.5 million a year to haul this dirt from over here to over here for this airport development. Straight up.
Wow. You know, this was really great. I really enjoyed our time.
Man,
I know we went over, but I know our people, you know, are just great information to go back and rewind and really pick up the information. I know we had to kind of weave our way through the information, alchemy of truth. And I'm quite sure DeWayne will be on some more so he can drop some more information. But in the meantime, I spelled the name incorrect. So it's Hendrix.
I just said you was asking about that Cash App. They wanna send your boy a few dollars because all of this research and all of this work, it's been just me, myself, and I.
Yes, and a lot of times it's like that. Independent journalism, independent research, independent author. Yeah, please. Did you put it in the chat?
No,
Or
you know what? I forgot about the chat. This how long I ain't been on StreamYard. Ain't that sad? I'm,
no, but you're back.
yeah, I know. And
So, like you said, you put up the information regarding your uh okay. Okay, it went into private chat. All right. So I'm gonna put it up.
oh,
That's all right. I put it up.
see, I forgot about the comments and everything.
Yeah, in the comments. Let me
Right?
put it up there. So
Yeah,
everyone. So yeah, you can support DeWayne Hendrix with a cash app at $ Morpheus 99 MOORPHEUS
look,
99.
if they want to buy the books, they can cash at me, and just put their number in the note, and I'll text them back and get their address and all that good stuff too.
Oh, great. Did you hear that? So, and also, if you would like to purchase Supreme Science and Red Pill Alchemy, like I said, I mean, this is 400 Supreme Science, like 460, 70 pages of information.
444. So
444. You can't beat that. And Red Pill Alchemy is how many pages?
405.
That's almost 900 pages of information. You will be transformed. You will be a transformer. You will be able to take the alchemy of negative energy frequency, and you will now be able to know how to transmute that for your highest good and your illumination of the mind. So yeah, like you said, if you like to purchase the book, um, send them send the money through Cash App at $MOORPHEUS 99. Put your telephone number in the subject line so he can text you back and receive your address, and you'll get your books.
Facts.
And this was great. Also, if you'd like to continue to support Just Another Message, shop our Etsy store at justanothermessenger.etsy.com. Like you said, we have our coffee mugs, our children books, and downloadable reading material. And please continue to tune in every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Just Another Messenger. And I said, as we're not monetizing on YouTube, support the channel through our Cash App as well at $ Just Another Messenger. And if you or someone you know would like to be a part of the show, send a friendly email to justanothermessengerpodcast@gmail.com. Now, before we go out, DeWayne, do you have any great parting words for this evening?
Well, I first off, I want to let you know I'll come back anytime you want me to come back. And
I appreciate that.
like I said, I really want you to help co-host this other show because I'm about to start doing shows almost every night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I want you to be a part of this show that I do with my brother Drew called the Alchemy Hour
Okay.
because I just think it'll be better to have the feminine balance in it. Um, and if anything I could say is that what I want to tell you is I'm thankful for you and a lot of the other sisters that have supported along the way. Truth be told, I haven't told you this, so I thank you in the public.
Yeah.
But you had checked this person who was trying to get up under me and got real close to me that was really fraudulent. If you remember that person, I ain't
Yeah.
name ain't really being word being spoken, but you had checked the real bad, and I was like, "Tam don't never had like this. What's going on?" I'm like,
Let me tell you, when truth go out and the enemy come in, I don't know. It's something about it. Just I take out my sword and I'm ready to just knock the heads off because I'm just tired of being in this energy of our own people holding us back.
right.
I'm just so it's annoying. It's annoying when our own people they fight you out of ignorance. They fight you just because they I don't know what it's about. And I've always been the person I love to take down the bully. I love to take down a person who think they're the bully. And I
Yeah,
love to take down a liar as well. And the best way you take down a liar is with some straight hardcore facts.
yeah.
Yeah. So, and I thank you too, because I remember you was on my podcast. And, you came on and did the Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
You-
that's right. You had a thought talk. Yep, yep. So did
yeah.
that.
So yeah, I would love to be a part of all the growth.
Yeah,
I'm ready for the smoke.
yeah, yeah. And it's like what I'll say to everybody is that if you really paying attention to the landscape of what's going on and you seeing what's happening in the matrix, these people doing everything that they possibly can to keep our attention focused on them, because they like this. They had a stranglehold on something for so long, and they just losing all their grip, you know.
Yeah,
And let me say this. This is important. That's why they want us to delineate from Africa, and they
absolutely.
don't they don't want us to be connected to Africa, because now watch this. All of these indigenous folks saying we need these people up off our land. We the original people of the land. Okay, so where the resources in the industry and everything else gonna come from?
Thank you.
Most of you Negroes,
Homeless.
you can't survive without AC.
Hmm.
So we just gonna go back to nature and we gonna try to survive and be tribes again, or we gonna try to now build on what we've become accustomed to living like in 2025.
And beyond.
Right. So you have all these people that romanticize and fantasize these things, and they have no tangible concept of how the world even works.
Of governance. And I speak about that so much. And I'm gonna cook real quick. I'm gonna cook real quick because
Right.
you just touched on something that just really it really gets to me because I said, okay, let's play the game. Let's play the game of the government decides to, and it's the government service corporation that has colonization, usurpation, and of our land, of the geographical landmass called United States of America. Okay, let's play the game. They decide to pack up, lock the door, leave, interrupt them. All right, which is a violation, which is a human violation. Now, who within the spectrum of body, and I'm not talking about the so-called black congressmen and House representatives. We're not talking about them. They are not in a position to take control of America because they already are. They sold
Are
out.
they
They
are
sold out a long time ago.
they with them folks.
Exactly. So they might as well pack up and leave with them as well. Okay. So who in the body of the sovereign body of the indigenous people, they're prepared. And I'm not talking about the ones either that's been a part of the civilized tribes. We're gonna X them out too,
Right,
because they was complicit in the gatekeeping as well.
right,
So, who is amongst the sovereign body has the governance and the foundation to rise up and to be able to lead ahead in the governance, to be able to have government to government relationship and know what's going on as far as government relationship. Because you got to keep in mind, even during our occupation, there's still a debt to be paid to other nations. And who would we get to satisfy that debt? Who will we get to satisfy that debt to other nations? Because right now we have a service corporations that has placed us in these fraudulent debt instruments. So
right.
we can play that game regarding go ahead and get off the land. But like you said, the best connector of that would be our brothers and sisters of the diaspora, because one thing that they have is control of the land and the military force to be able to come and help and guide and lead us to liberation. So we need to kind of think about those things in strategic fashion, as opposed to just podcast lip service,
Right.
because that's not how it works in the
And if
real world. Let's be real about it.
and if you talking shit about Africans, you might as well say you a cripple of blood, because that's all it is. Like my OG always tell me, salute to OG Brady. He said gang banging is a lower form of tribalism.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? So like that it's sad because that's what we have this mindset of all or nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And truth truth can be black and white, but within truth there's always gray areas, and that's where the true divine wisdom lies. So yeah, we are indigenous. We was here first. You know what I'm saying? All
Hmm.
of that stuff. But stop putting down Africa and stop like spreading all this disinformation and misinformation that can't be proven. Just to say, I'm putting myself on top, because when you do that, that's a European
And
ideology.
that's not even divinely connected
Right. Right.
at
That's
all.
like when what people don't understand is that so many of us still got the mindset and the heart of the oppressor.
Ooh, now you definitely got to come back for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now that's definitely going to be a part two of Alchemy of Truth to get into that,
Yeah.
because in order to know how to transmute, you have to know thyself. And in order to know thyself, you have to know that there's something in you that's not of yourself in order to get to remove it. So
Correct.
yeah, we can definitely go into that. I would love. So yeah, let's talk offline. Like you said, I know we went over, and I thank you for that. And yes, I would love to be a part of just continue moving this needle any chance I can get and being a part of it. So once again, we have DeWayne Hendrix, author of, let's go ahead and get that information back up here again, author of Supreme Science and Red Pill Alchemy. Once again, I thank you for tuning in. And please continue to have a great weekend and join us every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too, sister.